This episode of The Kickoff is brought to you by MANSCAPED. Now, MANSCAPED, they're known for their elite level ball skills. And most of you have got balls. I should know. I've seen the stats. It's like 99% of you. I know what's between your legs. But if you don't have balls, they're also doing facial hair now. So you're in luck, because some women have, you know, a little bit. Yeah, they get that, don't they? We've all seen it. Hairy women. The point is, they're also now looking after our pretty faces as well as our sacks. And the Beard Hedger face trimmer is the king of facial grooming. This waterproof cordless trimmer has a rotary reel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard. So there's no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. Oh, that's the time in that. Smooth. Yeah. With 20 lengths, it's never been so easy to find your signature beard look. And the titanium coated T-blade is tough on hair but smooth on your face. They've actually written, just because Manscaped has moved from the groin doesn't mean they've lost track of the ball. They still care about your balls, is basically what they're getting. They've still got the Lawnmower 4.0. The ceramic blades reduce nicks and cuts in your most sensitive regions. This revolutionary tech is the best defense you could find for your penalty box. That means your penis and your balls, maybe the gooch as well. The battery also lasts 90 minutes, so you could literally shave your bowels for an entire football match. But you don't have to, because it's actually very efficient. So if you want to support the Kickoff and your face and everywhere else, don't forget to use the code TRUE, T-R-U-E, all caps, at the manscaped.com checkout for 20% off and free shipping. So thanks for the support, but for now, enjoy the video. Bruno Guimaraes got very passionate in a Twitter spat with a Newcastle fan group. Basically, the fan group tweeted something out like, "Are Newcastle fans wrong to be criticising individual players early in the season?" And it was quite an innocuous little tweet of like just asking for engagement, right? It wasn't meant as like these players are shit. But in the picture, Bruno was in there, right? And Bruno's like, he's a right passionate Latin guy, right? You know, like part of the reason he plays with his heart on his sleeve, he's driven by that fire inside of him. And obviously that fire's always there, even when he's reading Twitter. And he replied with the following: "Is this serious? We are in the Champions League football. We lost against maybe one of the best teams in the world, and we have a big win and lost one game. Supporting the best moment is easy. Short, stupid memories you all have.
Wow.
Look what we have done for this team in 1 year and a half." So that had Newcastle fans, right? This was the best bit. Do you know when, like, the girlfriend who's way out of your league sort of claps back at you and you realise, like, fuck, we're actually really lucky to have this girl. So all these Newcastle fans start licking the arse of Bruno. It was like a nationwide, like, "We love you, Bruno. Don't hate us.
You're different."
It was so fucking wild. And, like, there was a bit of that in me, like, nah, I probably shouldn't have said that, shouldn't I? But in reality, Newcastle didn't perform to their best against Man City.
It's how quickly fans can become entitled. Because like I remember coming on this show 2 years ago, and your face of despair of just everything that was happening at the club at every level. You had nothing positive to say, and it's like very quickly, it's now like the expectation is so high. It's like slagging players off 2 games in. So I think he's right to set the expectation. Like, please remember where we've been. Even for Arsenal fans, like I've seen some absurd things. I saw someone say Martin Odegaard doesn't need to start, and I was just like, I need to block this person because you're an idiot. He's like, we should start Fabio Vieira instead. He looks ready. I was like, listen, just relax. We all remember where we were, where season tickets at Arsenal, I could get them 2 minutes before the game if I wanted to, and now it's a struggle. I have to beg for them. So with all due respect, we're doing very well. Let's just contextualise our feedback.
I think there's an argument to say that Newcastle fans haven't become entitled, though, because that particular thing that that Bruno was replying in response to, it wasn't even actually.
I'll be honest.
People saying hypothetically, could this happen? Anytime I've spoke about Newcastle on my own page, I'd said at one point that I think they'd be happy with a top 6 finish if they had a little run in the Champions League, and this was about a month ago. The main gist I got of it, the gauge that I got of it, was Newcastle fans saying, yeah, as long as it's, as long as we keep moving in this direction, we're in no urgent race to get there this season, next season, because it's, easy enough to feel like that when you know it's going to come within the next decade or so anyway. But I don't think Newcastle fans are getting entitled with it. I think that Eddie Howe would have a lot of leeway if he went under a bad run of form, and I also think that the players that got them to the position they got to last season would all be massively supported by it.
I feel like I've had a different relationship with the fan base.
No, Bob's pissed him off. But leave him alone. Come on, give him a pass. He's my mate. But no, I think a little bit of it, right, was Bruno deep down knew he got the run around against Man City, and he was feeling it there, and him then saying that triggered that inside of him to then overly defend himself. Do you know when you have an argument with a woman, she starts attacking you and you're like, I see what's going on here, best form of defense, attack. And he's passionate, right? And I'm willing to give him a pass for that, because it's that passion that makes him deliver. He deleted the tweet. Do you think he was wrong? Because players take a lot of shit and they never lash out. Do you think it's good that he voiced his thing?
I think it's a bad precedent. I think it's a bad precedent, because although he probably is right on this particular one and he got the tone right, it's very, very easy to find yourself yelling into the abyss at fans, and it's just not a relationship that you can afford to break down. So I think it's best that you just allow them to share what they're sharing, and you just celebrate what you can and then leave it when it doesn't go well.
My worry is if he has a stinker now, he's opened that door.
Do you not want the players playing for your club though to be more human? And are we all just a bit sick? I'm personally really sick of it, where I'm just getting the same media trained answers, the same PR responses, and these guys are scared to talk to anyone, let alone journalists, about how they really feel about their club and their own performances and their team's performances. I actually missed that era. Maybe it was sort of dying out in the late 90s and the early 2000s, but even then it was very different. Yep. Of players that just, they had a personality, they had a perspective, they were speaking out. If they weren't happy with something, they would say it. If they weren't happy with one of their teammates, they would call them out. We had with Newcastle, we had teammates fighting on the pitch, like it feels very, I don't know, sterile.
Yeah. It's about knowing where to draw the line, I think, as well, though, because if you do go back at fans, you do it once, you're expected to do it every time almost. And also, never underestimate how pathetic the people on Twitter can be. So if they know that, do you know what, like, we might get a rise out of this fella, and I'm feeling a bit rubbish about myself, so I'll tell you what, I'm going to get online and slate him as much as I possibly can. You'll get it all the time, and you'll find that there'll be 11 players on that pitch, more with substitutes, but it'll be that one player that one time that went back to someone on Twitter. He'll get 90% of the negative tweets and the negativity thrown their way. So my personal thing would be stay out of it altogether.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah, so happy medium is don't do it on Twitter, because no one, most of these fuckers on Twitter have no life, and they're literally just there to fucking shit on your life. But a bit more personable in post-match interviews. I look at people like Maddison, like Grealish, people who have connected with fan bases because they're not trying to be this perfect robot footballer. Like in this documentary, he comes across really like a good bloke, but he just needs to let it out more in the right way and go, look, I wasn't at my best today. We got the run around from City. I know we can do better. We will be better. But like, it's the way he goes, you are all stupid. It's like,
yeah, but don't you think that so many people have been burnt from having a relationship with fans or people on Twitter? Like, it's not, as you said, it's not a warm, fuzzy relationship, even though you're feeding them entertainment every week. You're giving, like, I know we sometimes look at players and we're like, oh, he didn't really try. And you're just like, I don't think you can be a professional football player, get on the pitch and not have something automatic about you that just gives everything that you have on that day. What you don't have, we don't know why. So we never know. Like, for example, with Dele Alli, we had no idea what was going on for him until recently, and the same for Lingard. So we think that actually it's not you just don't care, it's the fact that you don't have it. And so they're made to perform no matter what. So that relationship with the fans isn't like when the 90s where Harry Redknapp's sitting down with Lampard and a group of that would never happen now. A group of fan channels being like, hey man, we don't think Lampard's really great, and he's just sitting there being like, oh, I'm going to try my hardest. Them days ain't going to happen, because everyone's learned that that's not the healthiest way to engage in fans. It's too toxic.
And you bring up the Dele Alli thing, right? And I know there was a lot of empathy pouring out for Dele Alli, but let's say Dele Alli was playing for Manchester United now, or Liverpool, or any top club, and he has a bad game. Do you not think that the twats on Twitter would use that against him? Absolutely they would. Every dark thing that happened to him would be thrown in his face, because that's the culture on Twitter. Because we've kind of given birth to a society now where cowards are safe, and they can finally vent to people that they wouldn't dream of saying a word to and feel like a man, when in reality that they're just little bitches.